Our relationship with Africa, with countries in sub-Saharan Africa also have had a traditional dimension, a modern dimension, and a potential for the future. In terms of the traditional dimension, we have a shared historical experience where we, in a sense, struggle together to emerge from that. You may recall that the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who had led the struggle for independence for India against colonialism, had for a long time, before he became very active in India, had led a similar struggle in South Africa against colonialism, against apartheid, and then he had come to India. After India had become independent, we had also lent our support to the decolonization processes in Africa. So that of course was the traditional dimension. Again, for historical reasons, there is also a strong Indian origin community in many places in Africa, which provides us an additional dimension to consolidating the relationships, the partnerships. But looking at the situation today, we see the economic relationships again as providing opportunity. There are similarities in our situation. We are all broadly developing countries, and we can benefit from each other's experience. And based on our experience and our strengths, we certainly want to be partners with Africa. And the India-Africa Forum Summit that you referred to was the third in its series. And through that mechanism, we've sought to share our experience. We've also tried to see how we can contribute to the trade and economic partnership. So far, we have contributed almost $7 billion worth of concessional assistance, and we've made additional announcements for about $10 billion going ahead. We have contributed more than $1 billion of grant assistance, and we have provided more than 25,000 scholarships for students from Africa. We are working on the Pan-Africa e-network. We are seeing how all this can work towards a virtual university, Pan-Africa Virtual University. So there are different dimensions in which we are working together. And I think one has to realize that going ahead, a significant part of the world's population will be in Africa and Asia. And if you just look at the figures today, almost 1/3 of the world's population is in Africa and India. And the bulk of our population, almost 70%, is a young population, about 30 years or less. So when we are looking at opportunities in the future, we are looking at a workforce for the future, a technical workforce for the future. Clearly, the Africa-India partnership will have a vital role to play.
And of course, there are many Indian communities as well, particularly in East and South Africa, in Southern Africa.
That's right. So, and again, they've had a historical presence there because of the linkages which predated colonialism, and of course also during the colonial period. And those are there. And but now, of course, we are building the modern partnerships and linkages.